this is the Lord's Legion, and welcome back to an Antecedent commentary, the show in which I go back to the past, look at one of my older videos, and tear them into a new asshole. And I'm deeply sorry that I keep on neglecting this series, but the thing is, I'm struggling to find old videos to actually rip. But today, I'm going to rip one of my older videos, which is going to be the top 10 brutal games. And I think I have just enough material to make a whole episode on this. So without further ado, let's begin.
What's up, it's Mr. Boomer again, and it's time for another countdown.
Whoa, did my younger self just say now it's time for another countdown? Jesus, some things never change.
But today I want to talk about brutal games, which are very common nowadays compared to the 80s and 90s, which was very rare to find in the late 90s.
And the stuttling continues. It doesn't hurt to just edit them out, I mean you had it just then.
So today I'll show you my top 10 brutal games. Now in order for the games to be on this list,
again with these long ass pauses, I mean granted this doesn't seem too bad, but even still it's very noticeable.
It must not only will have to be gory, but it will also have to be fun as well as having a good storyline, and might do a top 10 goriest video game list sometime in the future, but enough talk.
Have at thee! But seriously though, although I do kinda see the logic that you're not going to make this list into the most goriest games of all time, the way you worded this is very vague, and you should word this even more clearer. Brutal Metal! Granted, I actually really like that song.
Now I've got to be honest here, I'm more of an Xbox person than a PlayStation fan, but let's be clear, I'm not an Xbox fanboy and I do not hate the PlayStation 3.
Can I really ask this question? Why is this even relevant?
One of my friends had GOW 3, which is Gears of War, no, God of War 3. Wrong game.
Aw, come on younger me, you really had the joke right there. It's just that your execution is very shite. But give credit where credit is due, at least you tried. Just failed miserably.
I did play it until the end, and I thought it was quite gory. However, it's low on the list, because while it was gory and I think the storyline was quite good, I didn't think it was that fun. But don't get me wrong, it was very gory and the story was nice, but it just wasn't really that fun.
Can you please elaborate on this? I mean, could you at the very least explain what the story is? Or why you didn't find it as fun? And I thought Leafy's transitions were bad.
To be fair, the story was simple. The controls were great even for today's standards, and it was very fun to play. However, I don't think it's that gory, but to be fair, it was one of the few games that started the gore fest.
Sorry, but which Doom game are we talking about? The original or the sequel? Because the picture showcases Doom 2, but it seems like you're talking about the original here.
So it may not be as gory as people say, but hey, it was good for its time back in the day, so that's why Doom's on this list.
I mean, fair enough that you didn't put it any higher because it wasn't as brutal, but which fucking Doom game are we talking about? I had to crop that segment to 3 seconds, and even then it still seems like it's taking the piss.
I have to say, this game had a very good story.
Let me guess, you're gonna say that it has a good story, but you're never even gonna explain on what the story actually is.
And had lots of blood, but the problem is, I only played it like twice.
So you played it twice, so why is it even on the list in the first place? I mean, granted it's low, but why even put it in at all?
But as far as my memory goes, I had a lot of fun. So yeah, Manhunt is a good game. It's gory, as far as I remembered. And nothing more I need to add. Next entry.
The lack of knowledge that I had on Manhunt was so painfully obvious.
Yes, I'm talking about the Xbox 360 version. not the original NES game.
I mean, the picture kinda speaks for itself there, but then again, earlier you were kind of misleading us with the original Doom.
Anyhow, Ninja Gaiden 2 was so brilliant with its story, the gameplay was good, and most of all had lots of blood than the first one, and had a lot more.
Stop touching upon the bases and please explain what the story is, and why is the control so good?
But it would have been higher if it wasn't too hard.
Oh boo-hoo! Mr. Boober finds Ninja Gaiden too hard!
It's one of the hardest games I've ever played, even harder than the whole NES trilogy. Okay, I need to shut up about the NES now, don't I?
I mean, first of all, as if the NES games were any easier. And also, we get it! Stop bringing up the NES games! We understand that this is the reboot version!
The first Left 4 Dead game had lots of blood, but Left 4 Dead 2 goes beyond gory.
Would you kindly explain as to how the sequel is any gorier? Oh wait, you can't be asked.
As well as being more fun, more satisfying by killing zombies. The story was short, straightforward, zombie apocalypse, kill zombies and survive as long as possible.
Is it me or have you repeated the same point several times? Looks like I was Leafy before Leafy was even a thing.
And most of all the melee weapons are fun as hell.
Can you not scratch the mic? I mean, this is incredibly unprofessional.
That's all to add. Next entry. Need to stop with that joke. Seriously, it's a bit boring.
Wait, what joke? I mean, I haven't noticed any joke that you've just said. Unless you're talking about this entire video.
Resident Evil 3 has to be my favourite game in the series because 1. It's the most memorable. 2. Brilliant story. 3. Fun to play. And lastly, it was the first time we see one of the best undead video game villains ever. Nemesis.
At this point, I'm not even surprised that this is all just skimmed over.
And it was gory as hell. By the way Nemesis says, "Stars," is so menacing and cool at the same time.
Was that impression even necessary to add? I mean, it's not even a good impression either.
It was hard to pick between this and No More Heroes 2.
Well, if it was such a struggle, why couldn't you just have a tie, or at the very least have No More Heroes have its own spot?
But Mad World is the one to go, because it was fun with its cool bosses, weapons, death, the Death Watch thing.
I am losing faith.
And in my opinion, the soundtrack was great, it was funny, and too bad it didn't sell well because it was a good game.
Again, does the low sales even amount to anything? I don't think so.
Yeah, I know it's a bit cheating because it's a remake to the original game on the PC.
Well, if it's improved upon, then I don't see how this counts as a cheat.
But let me tell you this. This is definitely the most goriest version of the first and second encounters that you'll ever find and play.
Is it really though, considering that this is a remake? I mean, I could be wrong, but even still.
Not only the fact that it was more fun, funny, the story was simple yet good, cool weapons, cool enemy designs, cool bosses, great soundtrack, and a very cool main protagonist.
Hold on a sec. Is my younger self actually making some valid points this time around? I'm actually shocked.
This game has to be one of the most disturbing games I've ever even seen.
But have you actually played it though, considering that you said that you've seen?
Because the necromorphs are so creepy and deadly, and the fact that it's so hard to even keep them dead. The story is cool. The main hero is alright.
The main hero has a name, you know. It's Isaac Clarke.
And there's lots of blood. And the thing that makes me cringe the most is how the necromorphs kill you. Very disturbing.
Wanna know what's even more disturbing? The fact that you cannot be asked trying to get rid of the background noises.
This series was always been very gory since the original game back in the 90s.
That kinda goes without saying, but we'll move on.
And since then they continue to be very gory, but sadly the later games from Deadly Alliance onwards, came a bit bad, despite the okay fatalities and a good storyline.
Again, these long pauses were very distracting and I almost completely forgot about the point that you were trying to get across.
This game is a huge step in the right direction by having more blood, more fun, better controls, brilliant story, good soundtrack, cool characters, and the fatalities are more gorier than ever before.
I mean, sure, you're kinda skimming over a few points, but even then, these points are actually valid. Where was all this from the other entries?
Well, now we reached an end on my top 10 brutal video games.
Well, you say that, but we have another minute left. Please don't mislead us like this again.
And now this is probably the first time you ever decide on my next review.
And it's gonna be more stutters and empty pauses. At this point, I'll just end this video here. But honestly, despite how there's plenty of problems, this video was going in the right direction. When my younger self actually made some points, they weren't actually that bad. And at least my younger self actually did try to make some jokes here and there, despite how they were poorly executed, but props for trying though. So this is going to be the end of this commentary, and as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, take care and have a good one.